This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order, and the chair calls on City Clerk Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
Councilman Harris.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Avery.
Here.
Eccles.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Cannon.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum present. The meeting is open for business. I'm going to ask Phil Swindle to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the privilege and honor you have given each and every one of us to be born in this nation, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Father, be with these men and those who serve this city as they continue to represent each and every individual in the city of Gadsden, and as the city continues to serve those who live in this city. God, give them the wisdom to do the things they need to do, not the politically profitable thing, but the right thing to do for this city. And bless them as they continue to represent us. Father, be with all those men and women who are serving our nation overseas and here on our land in military service. God, we ask that you especially be with Josh Wetzel as he is recovering from his injuries of last month. Lord, that he will continue to have great progress and that he'll come home soon, and that we'll have an opportunity to thank him personally for his service. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the work session and council meeting held on June the 12th.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
Chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of the accounts for the week of June the 8th through the 14th.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Proclamations. Mayor Jr.
Definitely been called worse. That'll be all right. Joe Battles and Mary Payne, either one of them here? All right. Okay. This is on elder abuse awareness. So, whereas Gadsden's elderly and disabled adults are valued members of society, and whereas the number of older citizens is fast growing and the incidence of abuse, neglect, and exploitation of older adults is outpacing the growth of the population, and whereas abuse of older and disabled people is a significant and complex social and health problem that impacts all cultural, social, economic, and demographic groups, and whereas combating abuse of older and disabled people will help improve the quality of life for all seniors and disabled adults in this city, and will allow seniors and disabled adults to continue to live as independently as possible and contribute to the life and vibrancy of Gadsden. And whereas Gadsden's seniors and disabled adults have a right to live free of abuse, neglect, and exploitation, and to be treated with respect and dignity to enable them to be valued members of this community. And whereas the City of Gadsden and the Adult Service Program of the Etowah County Department of Human Resources are committed to working closely with community partners to protect and provide for the needs of our older and disabled citizens. And whereas the City of Gadsden and the Council on Aging of Etowah County are committed to serving the aged population by supporting programs and services the community needs, including public education and Help Coalition. And whereas the protection of Gadsden seniors and disabled adults is in the interest of all and further adds to the well-being of Gadsden. Now, therefore, it be resolved that Sherman Guyton, Mayor of the City of Gadsden, does hereby proclaim June 14, 2012 as Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Unfinished business, we have none today. This is a time and place as advertised to conduct a public hearing allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of an ordinance amending City Code Section 130-202A, B4 Design Review District Guidelines. This establishes specific limitations on window signage in a B4 district as it relates to telephone numbers and website addresses. The Planning Department requests the amendment, which was unanimously approved by the Planning Commission. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of it? Chair will entertain a motion to, well, it's presented today for the first reading, and the council vote on it next week.
Mr. President, if there are no objections, I would like to ask that we suspend the rules to go ahead and vote on it today.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the ordinance today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
10 is a
Make a
resolution.
motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
No, we probably hashed this over several weeks, and I think everybody's clear on it, so we just move forward.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
10 is a resolution authorizing agreement with PPM Consultants. This is for audit of various city facilities for above-ground and underground storage tanks and preparation of Tier 1 spill prevention control and countermeasures plan. The amount is $5,500. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
New business, is there any new business?
I guess I have one, I thought it was two, I'll take off on this one. I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to consider ordinance 231, it's amending City Code 90-62 to provide additional exemptions from prohibition on discharge of firearms within the city. Ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Clerk, you take the vote.
Those in favor to consider the ordinance today.
Roll call vote, please.
This is just voting.
This just
This is
the,
vote
Yeah.
to consider
Consider-
today?
just consider,
Okay.
yeah.
Consent.
Yeah.
Those in favor to consider the ordinance today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
I think,
make a motion.
go ahead.
You need to make a
Yeah,
motion?
make a motion, we move to adopt.
I second this.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Now, Deborah.
Just ask for a roll call
That's
vote.
what.
Well, let's have a discussion
Yeah, I
first.
mean,
Yeah.
I was really reluctant when I first read this, and after getting some more information on it and understand that the caliber of weapons you'd be able to use has been really restricted by the state, really. So I can support it, understanding that people can't get out there with high-powered rifles or anything like that. It's going to be a low-velocity ammunition and a small caliber weapons that they could use for this.
Additional discussion, we in this situation, we are relieving animal control of the responsibility that we need to hold their feet to the fire to commit for us.
They have no control over wildlife.
Well,
I mean, they
There's
can't
a-
do anything.
yeah, I understand they don't have any control over wildlife, but they are animal control, and there are some, I think, there are some measures that we can put into place to put that problem in the department that it belongs in being.
Yeah, I think the crux of it is that under this, and the state law says low velocity 22 shells, which are effective probably at 100 feet, 120, whatever it is. But I think the main thing is you still have to have a permit to shoot these animals that are doing crop damage or property, whatever kind of damage they're doing to human safety or whatever. But the permit, I think, is the secret to it. Animal control, if animal control had 4 times as many people and vehicles and all the equipment necessary, then they could probably handle it with the state's permit. but we don't have it, we never have had it, and I would call today to the chief to look into beefing up our animal control. We've been trying, they've been a stepsister for at least 20 years, I know of. But anyway, getting back to this,
Yeah, Ben,
permit and velocity.
Yeah, I thought that licensing thing only meant you had to have a license to discharge that firearm at night at those varmints.
You can hunt coyotes in the daytime, but you can't at night. With a permit, you can hunt them day or night, but you have to have this ordinance to be able to do it inside the city limits of Gadsden, Alabama. That's the deal right there. That's the crux.
Well, you know,
Without the permit, as I understand it, without the permit, it's no different from what it is now about discharging firearms in the city of Gadsden.
They'll run free.
You got to have a permit, and you're gonna get fined. I don't know how much it is, but we might look at that and raise that amount
Sure.
if we need to.
Good
Well,
thought.
I think we might need to look at it and do away with the amount if they're shooting coyotes. I just have a problem with, because see, if there's a coyote in my yard attacking my dog or something attacking whatever it is, I'm gonna shoot him whether I got a permit or not. I'll just take my chances in court. I just have a problem with permitting people to be able to discharge firearms within the city limits and claim. And so, you know, again, like I say, I just got a problem with that. I mean, we're going down a slippery slope, and if, because I think the way that thing reads, it says fur animals, or do it specify?
It specifies.
What do it specify?
Coyote, feral pig, raccoon, possum, but it also goes and explains due to crop damage, property damage, and or reasonable concern of
That's-
human safety.
That's
So,
just too much.
we're talking about rabid animals.
I
raccoons,
understand.
whatever.
That's a little bit too much. Again, like I say, I just think if I'll take my chances going to court if there's a coyote in my yard attacking my dog and I shoot and kill the coyote. I'd rather take my chances in court as opposed to giving people carte blanche to go out and do that.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody up here on this council that's not concerned with the issue at hand. And I think everybody up here is. I think where we're differing is the method by which you address it. And I share Councilman Avery's sentiment in that I'm very, very concerned about the risk-reward factor of allowing the discharging of weapons for the sole purpose of eliminating these animals. I just think the risk far outweigh the rewards of anything. And we've discussed upstairs some alternate methods to get to the end that we're all trying to get to. So I really think we should consider those before passing this.
And Ben, you know, we've had numerous of shootings up in our area at night. All those guys got to do is apply for a permit and have a permit. When the police come, oh, we were shooting at coyotes, you know, and I got some problems. I know there's a problem otherwise, but I also got problems giving them that right. So,
But I'm going to reiterate one more time, and I know the chief's going to get tired of hearing this. I pumped it to everybody else for 16 years. We need to pump up our animal control people. We need more people, and we need them working more than from 7 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon when everybody turns the dogs loose and the coyotes start running.
I agree.
So I'm going to keep pushing that home until we do something about it. It's hard enough to even get them a truck and a cage, for God's sake. You know?
But I think after the day, you all of us are on board with you on that. I certainly am on board with us having animal control step up to the plate and do what we've asked them to do. Now, if the police chief and the mayor, you know, say animal control, get us 2 more people on part-time to go after these things in the evenings, let it be done. And if they can't do it, you know, if they can't follow instructions or follow directions that the chief gives them, somebody else can.
We've asked them to step up to the plate many a time, but they didn't have a bat.
Now it's time.
You know what I mean?
But
They got no
now
control.
we got a different picture.
All right, so what I'm asking for, and I'm assuming we're going to pass this anyway, I could be fooled. I'm going to ask for more full-time people in animal control. You can't work a part-time man at night, I don't think, all night long, but you can work second, third
Yeah.
shifts on the other, so that's where I'm going. I'll call for a vote.
I think, we're still in discussion, let me give my 2 cents in.
Put your
I
2
think
cents in,
that
man.
we've,
if we give somebody that's got a gun that's trying to shoot a coyote and they miss and some little children around there hits one of them little children, what's the accuracy of the person that has the gun, you know? We're just giving somebody a little permit they can get to go ahead and try to shoot a coyote. What if they're under alcoholic beverages or something like that and try to shoot and miss and they hit a child or something? I've got 2 grandchildren and I don't want nothing like that to happen to them. I love them dearly. I don't want nothing like that to happen, and I don't think we're going in the right direction on this thing. We're letting people get permits to shoot a gun to shoot at a coyote when they might not be shooting at a coyote.
Call for the vote.
I did call for a vote, and I do have a permit.
I have a permit too, but I'm not
Y'all
going to
know who
shoot.
to have.
Okay, call for the vote, please.
Councilman Harris,
No.
Williams,
No.
Avery,
No.
Eccles,
No.
Stewart,
Yes.
Cannon,
No.
Reed.
Yes.
Motion fails to carry for adoption of the ordinance.
Okay. Now I'm going to call a meeting of Public Safety Committee within the next week, and we're going to talk about animal control based on this right here.
Yeah.
And I won't repeat it again because it's too long, and I believe in it too much to bring it up to animal control. More full-time people, more drugs,
Absolutely.
more what.
And you know, and Ben, thank you, because, and everybody needs to be aware of the fact that we have this problem and that Public Safety Committee is resolved to get the solution to this.
But if they don't know it, just wait till the next puppies are born, they'll know it then.
So Chief, there we go, this is serious business. And while we're on that subject, we talked about the coyote situation on the mountain extensively last night, but that's not just the only area that we have coyote problems, and fox. We have that same problem over in East Gadsden, we have it in Green Pastures, we have it in Peyton Ridge Farm area. So it's not just one area, so we've got to step up and do something to help get this problem under control. And it's the city's responsibility, not the citizens' responsibility.
Is there any other new business?
Mr. President, I have an item I'd ask for unanimous consent to consider, and this is a resolution authorizing co-sponsorship of Juneteenth celebration and First Friday.
Second. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
At this time, I'd ask for passage.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, this is just a continuing resolution. We normally sponsor these events anyway, but in going through our paperwork, we discovered that we don't have a continuing resolution, and basically every time this come up, we would have to do one to be co-sponsor. So this alleviates that from this point forward.
Any other discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Any other new business? Department reports, committee, boards, are there any?
We have Parks and Recreation. Parks and Recreation.
Good morning. I just want to touch bases on a few things we have going on this week. On Thursday, we have 3 ribbon cutting ceremonies going on. The first one will be at 10:30 for the Black Creek Trail. And that location will be toward the rescue squad where the trail enters the road. We have a ribbon cutting there at 10:30. And also we have golf cart rides for citizens that cannot make it up the trail, where we'll be riding up to the overlook where you can look over the city, and then we'll be coming back down. And then at 11:30, we have the ribbon cutting for the new Jacks on the mountain. And that'll be at 11:30 at Jacks. And then following that, we'll have refreshments at 12 o'clock at the Kiwanis Pavilion for the invited guests for the ribbon cutting. And then at 1:30, we'll have another ribbon cutting for the playground, the new playground at Nakalula Falls. So all that'll take place on Thursday. And then also on Saturday, we have the Barbarian Challenge that'll be going on at Nakalula Falls. Also at the mountain, we have over 1,000 participants this year, and it's up over 300 participants from last year.
Thank you, Courtney. How many golf carts did you say you were going to have there?
Undisclosed number.
Where would where would spectators be able to watch the Barbarian event? Where would be the best place to go?
The best place to go is at our practice fields, which is most citizens may know is the old landfill. I mean, it'll start there, but most of it will take place throughout the mountain, so you can't see some of the course. But the part there, you can see probably the smokehouse and then the electric shock area and probably the obstacle course, whatever they have designed up there.
All right. Okay, thank you.
So if you haven't seen this, it's interesting to see.
You come up the house and sit there and just listen to them moan and groan. Bad, man. Bad.
Any other? Okay, Ben, you want to start?
It's a little premature, but I do want to announce that we're going to have a district meeting the 26th of June. That's on a Tuesday at 6 o'clock at Kiwanis Pavilion. We're going to cover Neighborhood Watch, all the burglaries, all the things that have been going on. The chief is going to be there to cover all that. We are going to talk about animal control and coyotes at that time. So we just ask everybody to come out and get ready to find out what to do for the Neighborhood Watch from the chief. That's all.
I'd just like to thank everyone that came out Saturday for the Music on Megan at the Alabama City Gazebo. I think we had probably 140, 150 people this weekend came out. The weather was fine. Everybody had a good time. It's the first time we've had people dancing up on the gazebo and in the grass and on the sidewalk. And all that is free, and I do appreciate the Alabama City Lions Club for sponsoring that once a month. It's the third Saturday of each month. That's all I got.
Bill?
I'd just like to say I'm certainly in support of beefing up our animal control. We've got dog problems all through the city that hadn't been able to addressed over a long period of time, so we definitely need to do something, and maybe they can handle our coyote problem also. That's all I got to say. Certainly support that.
Okay, Mr. President, I want to say that we've had some incidents over the last several days that I want to maybe address a little bit. I know we've had some shootings, and my sympathy go out to actually both families. I know when situations like this happen, tragedy happens, it affects both families, so our sympathy goes out to both families. While we're on that subject, there was another incident that happened that was in the paper that disturbed me. And we've got enough negative press going on as it is, but to add to or to pile on, I really have a major concern. I'm not sure who did the story, but I just happened to see where there was a altercation on Avenue C where a couple was arguing and somebody stepped in the middle of it and they were stabbed as a result of it. But the article mentioned a nightclub that's on the east side of town. I ain't figured out yet how the nightclub has something to do with what happened on Avenue C. And this is one of those things about negative press I have a major concern about. And hopefully we can get away from that. And President Company is excused. I know these guys don't have control, but that's why it's hard to get people to subscribe to and take papers and listen to certain radio stations because of the negative. And they go back and pick up stuff that is not even relevant to what's going on. And that was a prime example in that article. These folk were at a house, and what they did prior to going to that house had nothing to do with what happened at the house. You know, the fight started there, and the incident happened there, the police responded there, but they mentioned a night spot, which, again, don't make sense. Okay, get off my soapbox on that. Some good news, some good stuff. Breakaway Ministries have some young people here in town, and we talk about all the bad stuff our young folks do. This is some good things that we do. Breakaway Ministries have some young teenagers here from Wyoming, and they're working this week. They're going to be painting 2 houses with the Community Development Paint Program, and they will also be working in the 6th Street Housing Project area, ministering to local kids. Let's hope the newspapers and the radio stations to get this right and talk about this as opposed to talking about some other stuff. So that's one of the good things that are happening in our community, and we appreciate Eddie Nichols and Breakaway Ministries and the positive thing that they're doing. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilman Avery, for making us aware of the activities with Breakaway Ministries. I'm a big fan of what they do, and they serve a need in our community that a lot of folks who should be stepping up to serve that need don't. So I really do appreciate what they do there, and they do it pretty much stepping up to the plate both from a time standpoint and from a financial standpoint. So again, definitely appreciate that. You know, our prayers and our thoughts and our well wishes go out to both families involved and affected by this most recent negative event. We do, again, extend ourselves to those families. Do want to make everyone aware that obviously, you know, when we watch the news, read the papers, or what have you, we're all aware of some of the issues that we're having with burglaries relative to scrap metal and copper and things of that nature. And so many of you may be asking yourself, well, what can the city do? And so I know that the police chief and the police department and legal is researching what the city has the capacity to do, and going forward, if there's anything that we can do to add additional teeth to some of our ordinances and laws and what have you, we're going to do that. But you know, again, these kind of things take time and take some research to address. So stay tuned. If we have the capacity to address those going forward, we will. I also want to make everyone aware of an event that's going to happen. It's it's out in the future. It's actually July 10th. But we were made aware by the Southern Poverty Law Center that they're going to be conducting a community forum on July 10th at 6:30 p.m. at the Senior Activity Center, and the subject of the discussion is going to be payday lending and the impact on the community. So again, to call on the old adage, there's more than one way to skin a cat. If we don't have all of the tools in our toolbox from a local standpoint to address this issue, we can call on or can support statewide and national agencies and regional agencies to take on that fight. So again, those of you who are available, please make yourselves available to attend this important discussion on July 10th at 6:30 p.m. at the Senior Activity Center. And again, this is being sponsored by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
And co-sponsored by the city.
And co-sponsored by the city. Yeah. So the last thing I have is I just want to thank my family for a wonderful Father's Day. And I have as many of you know, I have two girls, and I can tell you that girls buy the best Father's Day gifts. By far, because when I compare what they gave me to what I gave my father, there's no match. So again, I do want to thank my family and let everybody know that girls do in fact buy the best Father's Day gifts. Thank you.
Did you give him that tie that he didn't wear 5 years ago? Did you recycle it?
The one with the clown on it?
Yeah, okay, all right.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to say it's good to have you back, Bob. You've been out of commission for a couple of weeks, and it's good to have you back in the chair there.
Too many.
All right.
15 days in the hospital.
15 in the hospital. But he did have a choice seat, a choice viewing for Riverfest. Yeah, all he had to do is just sit up in the bed and look out, and there's Riverfest right out there. So I'm sure he enjoyed it.
The fireworks were beautiful.
That's good. That's good. And also our thoughts and prayers will continue to be with the two families involved in this terrible situation that we've had happen in our city recently. It's sad that we have to continue to have those type of things that happen in our city. And God knows, I don't know what the answer is, but there's an answer somewhere that we all need to be involved in trying to prevent these type of events from happening in our city. The good news is that really There's a young man, Harrison, Courtney, what's his first name? Having a basketball, Wilbur Harrison. He's conducting a basketball training, basketball camp over East Gadsden Recreation Center on Mondays from 5 to 7. And this young man is doing this on his own, and all kids are welcome from grades 1 through 6, and he's going to expand this thing and perhaps later on try to get into a baseball camp, but something good is happening in our city, and it involves our young people and a young man willing to go out there and start a program and do something for our youth. So when you hear this event that Mr. Harrison is undertaking, please support him. Please support him in this endeavor, because it will mean a lot to our young children, our kids in the city. We were talking about thefts and things of that nature. I was made aware today of one of my constituents having had items stolen from him on 2 consecutive nights. On a Tuesday and a Wednesday night, probably the same person. They came on Tuesday night and got items, and came back on Wednesday night and got more items. You know, I just, and along with the copper thefts, you know, and aluminum and thefts, you know, times are hard, and people are just trying to do everything they can to make it as easy as they can without, and taking from you, you know, what you've worked hard for. So just be mindful of that, and if you have items of value that are not partially secured, do what you can to secure those items as much as you can, so that you'll make it, at least you'll make it a little tougher for the thief who wants to come in and take your items. But at the same time, you know, more police activity, more police patrols in the evenings, at nights when these things are occurring, would certainly be of a benefit. So we're looking for that to happen also. We've got park signs up at most of all the parks in the city of Gadsden, and most of them state that the park closes at dark. We have one sign over at the Hughley Park that's in conflict with that says the park closes at 10 o'clock. The sign that says that park closes at 10 o'clock will be removed, and the dominant sign that says park closes at dark is what the police will effectively pursue anyone in the park after dark. There are no lights in the park. It's not suited for evening activities. And the only way you should be there is if you've been permitted from the city to be there in that park for an event after dark. So enforcement of that timing is going to be very critical to us to cut down on the vandalism in our parks. So be mindful of that. Be forewarned that we're going to protect the properties and the citizens of Gadsden. We had a very fruitful meeting last night in East Gadsden, at the Recreation Center in District 1. As promised, there was a police officer there in attendance, and he was very instrumental in answering questions and giving information to the citizens. And I thought that was just a wonderful thing, and I understand there's going to be a representative from the police department at all district meetings, all community meetings, and that's just a wonderful thing. This is your opportunity now to ask questions and to be informed about police procedures and things, what they can and cannot do. So I encourage you, whenever there's a meeting going on in your district or in your area, or even not in your area, y'all show up at the Kiwanis Pavilion on June the 26th for Ben's meeting. You know, he doesn't mind. You know, you get the same information from all of us. Some things are more directly effective in one area, but I'm sure nobody here would be offended if you were to show up, even though if you don't live in that district, to one of their meetings to get information that we try to give out here in the city. And don't forget the Barbarian Challenge this Saturday. We had some volunteers from up here, our guests, to lead us, Ben. So
I'm not going to participate, thank you.
Okay. We'll be at the spectators' bleachers. Okay, that's all I have. Tenk you, sir.
Mr. President, can I follow up on what he was saying? I need to ask Courtney something, if it's okay. Courtney, does the tennis court, old tennis court on the mountain, that parking lot, is that part of Knocklula Park now? It is part of the park, and it comes under the rules and regulations and ordinances, same as all other parks. Thank you. I just want to clarify that.
I just wanted to recognize someone. I hadn't seen him in a long time. But Teddy, well, welcome back. I'm glad to see you. Okay, I know you used to be a regular, and you've been away for a while, so. Okay, well, I'm glad to know you're okay and looking good. Right, I remember that. Well, but we're just happy to have you here. Yeah, you do that now. I ain't worried about that.
Robert, if we told everybody what his alias is, they'd all know it.
They'd all know it. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
No, sir. No, sir. It won't happen at this end of the table, let me tell you.
But anyway, like I say, I appreciate what the council has done for the city. I've been here since 1955. It's a pleasure to live here, work here.
Yeah.
Raise my children.
But,
My theory is, if you don't like the city of Gadsden, you don't like this country, let us know. We'll get you a one-way ticket anywhere you can. Everybody have a good week.
okay.
Go South Gadsden.
Make a motion. I make a motion with your. You got something?
Yeah, I wanted to.
Okay, go ahead. It's okay, Bob.
I'm gonna second it, don't matter what it is. That's second.
No, I just want to thank all the people that responded with cards and so forth while I was in the hospital. I don't think I had anything that was life-threatening. It was my regular old COPD was the first part, and then my esophagus constricted, and I had a little trouble swallowing, so they had to go down in there and stretch it out, and they just took a long time.
Well, Courtney has something else he'd like to say, Mr. President.
I forgot one thing in my report. We like to give our condolences out to the Harper family, James Bird Harper, that works for the city. The softball complex is our nickname. He passed away this past weekend. His funeral was yesterday. We just want to give condolences to his family, like they worked for the city a long time. And
Sure
did.
It's that softball complex.
Yeah.
Good, Courtney.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Robert.
Okay, make a motion with adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.